to introduce Pranay Lal, who has been my colleague for a long time, while I was in the ministry too. And Pranay is a senior technical advisor in the Union Southeast Asia office. He's a biochemist by training and works in the area of public health. He has worked on tobacco control in India since the year 2002, a long stint in tobacco control, of course. And he has many publications in peer reviewed journals on various topics: health, ecology, global trade, and infectious diseases. And also a multidimensional personality with diverse academic interests. Wrote a very interesting book also. So over to you, Pranay.
Thank you, Dr. Kaur. I stand here before all the August speakers uh, with a bit of trepidation. It is in 2002 a meeting held in the India International Center by Dr. Reddy and Monica uh, when we were beginning to talk about tobacco control. Those were early days, and I feel really old, but I guess I feel rejuvenated by the fact that the battle is still on. So there's no way we can leave our lances and armors down. Um, I think the speakers before me have spoken eloquently about various perspectives. Mr. Rajiv Sadanandan spoke very eloquently about his initiatives in Kerala, and I congratulate again for the recognition that WHO has given to the state government. I think it's incredible the work that Kerala does, and it's been a pleasure that I've had been associated with Kerala and with Mr. Sadanandan for some time. Having said that, I think we also need to put in place the fact that the city of Chandigarh also is a place which has pioneered tobacco control. I think in way back soon after the 1999 Kerala High Court judgment, it was the efforts made by civil societies, a handful of activists in Chandigarh who initiated the work there that started to push for making Chandigarh the smoke-free city. So I think it is interesting that we should also recognize this fact for those who forget history. In terms of its location, Chandigarh is wedged between a high burden state like Haryana, and it is also privileged to be having in its backdrop Punjab, which has a rather low prevalence, but its prevalence has grown uh, rather inchingly towards a slightly higher number than we should actually anticipate, given the socio-cultural setting, because of other conditions, especially the substance abuse challenge that the state faces. So I think, although Chandigarh remains a pioneer, it is something that we have to keep in cognizance, the fact that no battle is ever won. I think the challenge of the industry, what Mr. Sadanandan spoke about, the challenge of the industry is going to be something that is going to continue to emerge. And I think we saw this way back in the late 80s and early 1990s when we were working on, say, things like breastfeeding. Nestle and other multinationals have not gone. I was just looking at Nestle's uh, annual report. They still make 18% of their revenues from breast feed substitute products, and that's incredible. And let's come to tobacco. Tobacco industry has constantly reinvented itself, and just in the last week, we've seen two new reports coming out from the industry. I'll talk about just one of them. I think that's the one that the Foundation for Smoke-Free World has taken out, the one that Mr. Vikashshil spoke about. And what they have been arguing is that there is a complicit uh, arrangement between what the governments have been doing and how tobacco industry stays promoted. I don't think they're too wrong. The fact of the matter remains that government continues to make perverse profits and revenues from the tobacco sector. And how does it detach itself? It reminds me of what the judgment happened in the Jersey court gave during the Bhopal gas tragedy. If those of you who recall this, it was something to this effect. It said that the government of India, because of its stake through LIC in the Bhopal gas plant of Union Carbide could not stand here before the Jersey court as both a victim and a perpetrator. And it found the government a perpetrator rather than a victim. So there were no compensations paid. And as a result, people in Bhopal tend to live in the conditions that they do. That aside, I think what we are living now in, and I don't think anybody, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, Dr. Kaur, Dr. Srinath Reddy, and even Rajiv Sadanandan would, consider that fact that, we never imagined that, we would ever see a pandemic in our lifetime. But this is a great opportunity. I think this is an opportunity for us to look at how we want to expedite our effort towards an end game for tobacco control. Because if tobacco industry is putting its accelerator on now on pushing what they call safer products, I think it is time that we reinvent ourselves and we help repurpose our institutions to look at how tobacco control is going to be working in the new normal. I mean, I don't imagine a new normal coming uh, in the sense because a lot of the policies will remain business as usual. Uh, the point that I'm trying to suggest here is this: that in the future, by 2032, let's make that as the year when we have the last NCTOH. We want the last tobacco users by 2030 to be struggling to quit, and we will be helping them then. The prevalence has to go down to near zero or near zero. And tobacco's cultivation should have been, a thing of the past. Tobacco board should be disbanded. And I just came up with a statistic the other day. 94% of all tobacco in India is produced from unorganized sector, volume by volume. Um, this is also the time when tobacco industry is making huge inroads into the policy arena. A couple of things. I think there were one thing that happened about a fortnight ago when the NGT, the National Green Tribunal, gave what looks to be a favorable opportunity for tobacco control advocates to push for looking at how we can ban the proliferation of cigarette butts. That is interesting. But I think what has also happened is it's also opened avenues for tobacco industry, like the Farm Bill and also the changing landscape of the Foreign Contribution Act. These are going to be intimidating things in the immediate and near future. I think so. The couple of things that I just want to end with, and I know that there are two more speakers after me. I think what we will need to do is ensure that we stay relevant in the changes that are happening in the backdrop, because the tobacco industry is still gaining foothold. They are still not denormalized enough. The the shareholders, their stocks, the capital flight, their power, and the leverage that they have within the policy framework is just too significant. And I think we cannot lose out on any effort that we have made thus far. And we only need to look at how we want to go from strength to strength. It is going to therefore be a massive challenge that we stay relevant, and we are relevant in this sphere that we can repurpose the policies that are coming both nationally and internationally, because institutions within India and the international agenda and the international institutions are also getting repurposed and reoriented. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I wish the organizers the very best for the successful conclusion of this workshop. Thank you.
So thank you so much for the presentation, a very comprehensive overview, Pranay.